The director of the film, James Gray, and the star of the film, Jaylin. I'm just going to ask one or two questions, and then we can open it up to the public, if that's okay with you.
Swell.
I've never had anyone say absolutely not. Well, I could be the one doing this. You've already done films that are very personal, drawing on your family and your autobiographical, but this is certainly your most transparently autobiographical film. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit why did you feel at this stage in your career, like you have done so many other films in different style, different genre, even so you're always talking about family. Why did you feel it was the right time for you to do something that was so strongly set in your teen years and so intense in going back into your life?
As usually is the case, it's a series of events that all come together. You don't really know the reason specifically. It's not one day. I mean, it would be very nice. I remember there was a very entertaining, though kind of silly film about George Gershwin called Rhapsody in Blue with Robert Alda. And in the film, I remember he says, I want to write a rhapsody in blue. A rhapsody. It's like, no. It's like you're sitting there and you're struggling and the thing sucks and you write it 42 times. At least for me, maybe George Gershwin did do that. Maybe he said, maybe he was a pretty smart guy. Maybe he did that. But my own feeling is that you have a series of circumstances that contribute to it. And in my case, I'm going to be very honest with you because it's my third Q&A tonight and I'm sort of losing it. So the bullshit sort of wears off and you start to get honest. I had made a picture in the Amazon jungle and in the UK, which was extremely rewarding creatively, but brutal physically. And I thought I was going to be cool. I was going to go to the jungle. I was going to put on my pith helmet, and I was going to walk around like this. But the Jew does not deserve the jungle, and the jungle does not deserve the Jew. So I got there, and it was like fucking punishing. And I remember I was the first 2 weeks. I was like, no, I'm awesome. I'm doing it, right? And Darius, the cinematographer, Darius Conti, sitting there going, it's really hot. I was like, no, it's not hot, Darius. You just think it's hot. It's fine. It's good. It's fine. It's fine. And then after 2 weeks, it started to really wear on me. So what did I do? I turned around and immediately decided to put an actor on wires in a green box for months. And that was to do a movie in space. Now, I finished that movie, and then I had massive difficulties with it, finishing it, because I got into big arguments, and the film didn't turn out to be my cut. And I was devastated. See, this is the part you get when it's late. I had final cut up until that movie for a 20-year period, and when I gave it up, I thought I would be in a certain good position, but then the film didn't resemble my own, and you start hearing people that I love come up to me and go, that voiceover in the movie, really, that sucks. I had nothing to do with it, I didn't write it, I didn't do the movie, and all of a sudden getting blamed. So I said, see, this is the maybe I should have had a shot of sodium pentothal on stage. And I said, I literally did say this. I said, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm never going through that bullshit again. If I gotta suffer and people are gonna write a text or Twitter or whatever the fuck, that my movie blows, it better be me. So I said to myself, go do your own piece of shit. And I said, I'm gonna do a picture where I cast who I want, finish the goddamn movie exactly the way I want, and I want to fail. I've said it before, I want to fail to the limit of my skill set. And that, it really, in the end, that's all you got. Because if you want to be a creative person, you express yourself. You don't express the view of 17 others in the room. And that's how it came to be as autobiographical as possible. Jeremy Strong will talk this evening.
It does seem like you had to sort of circumnavigate the going to the jungle and going to the furthest, reaches of outer space before you could return home and, know the place for the first time, kind of thing. And that thing that you said, that I've heard you say, that history and myth begin in the microcosm of the personal. That, of course, it is deeply personal and autobiographical, but what struck me when I read it, using that sort of formally to tell a much bigger story of the whole country, really, and of this moment in 1980 when things, there was a sea change, right, and I saw it last night in this theater, and I felt like, I thought it was very sad, and I was very moved by it, but it felt to me that in a way it's about integrity, and the moment that the country, I looked up integrity when I got home last night, and apart from it being about having strong moral principles, it's about a state of being whole and undivided. And it feels like this moment in time where that ceased to be true, and where the divisions that we see now having widened, where those sort of fault lines began in a way. I forget what the question was. It's also my third Q&A.
I'm just going to ask you a follow-up question in terms of shooting and reproducing New York from, and Queens specifically from the 1980, and trying to find maybe authenticity in the sets that were in your memories, and rebuilding what was in your memories and what has changed since. And I assume that was something very important to you to find and connect with what you had internally and to see it outside.
It's funny because usually that translates into much higher visual effects budget, what you just said. I remember at one point, there's this big sequence in the Guggenheim, and I said to the Happy Master production designer, I said, well, we're going to shoot the Guggenheim, it's great because they got the Kandinsky show, it's all good. And the Guggenheim hasn't changed. You don't have to spend any money in the art department, no change in the Guggenheim, it's fine, it's Guggenheim, let's go, Guggenheim. And then I remember that day, I see everybody's changing light fixtures and doing all this stuff, and I go out to get one establishing shot of the Guggenheim. Like Darius and I walk out, I set the shot, I go, okay, there's the lens thing, good, we'll do the shot, and the camera's on, and we shoot the shot, and then I get to the editing room, and they're like, that shot will be $40,000. I'm saying, what, why, I understand, what are you saying, it's the Guggenheim. Don't walk, now it's a hand. The actual Guggenheim is a different color. Believe it or not, there were scenes you used to see that all of a sudden I saw there was a great photorealist, still alive actually, photorealist painter named Richard Estes, who painted the Guggenheim Museum in the summer of 1980. And I look at the painting, it's almost exactly the same angle I shot it. I'm like, holy shit, everything's different. They got a building behind it, they got this thing. All of a sudden, the whole goddamn shot is CGI. So this shows you, schmuck. So I knew that I had to basically, I couldn't just get an established shot of a fucking Guggenheim. I had to do the homework. And but my brother was a huge help to me. I remember I would ask him, he has incredible memory. I'd say, what were the plates? Oh, there were these white plates with this like green floral pattern, and like the whole art department's like writing notes and stuff. My father also was a truly abominable photographer, but he was an abominable photographer with whose terribleness was exceeded only by his desire to take photographs and his opinion of his own photographs. So we had 82 billion pictures of everything and none of it interesting, which was extremely helpful to the art department. We had random pictures of the Dachshund that we had in 1971, but you could see the hi-fi behind it. And I'd say, there's the hi-fi. And Happy would go, oh, the hi-fi, I see the hi-fi. And we would get the hi-fi. It became, a Xerox, basically.
one of the first things we did together was go to the panorama at the Queens Museum. And, you know, in a way it felt like a metaphor of the whole experience because you're standing up there on the bridge looking at the whole city and, you know, and we were with your kids. And, you know, you said, you see that over there, you know, and then we took an iPhone and you sort of zoomed in on your house and you know, entering into the minutia of that, but also retaining the sort of epic viewpoint.
Please learn from the two Q&As.
No, he's good. He's got it down.
I've never said that before. That's not like a plan.
He sounds like it's like right there.
We're going to take one of these questions to make sure we...
One?
Okay, the first one, no, we'll take the first one.
Listen, you're going to drag me out to 3 Q&As. Let's make the last one a fucking barn burner. Let's go. Exactly. 640,000. You know why you have to ask a lot of questions? Because when you stop, I got to go back and do my workout, or else I get, you know, I get a little flabby and all that. My doctor says I got to do this workout with these bands. I don't want to do it. So the more questions you ask, the more what happens, and then I can quit. Say, oh, I got home too late. I can't do it. So you see? All right, I'll shut up.
Okay, well, there's someone here, but it's very close.